Hi boys and girls. Today we're going to review our guiding questions for our module. The first one is, why are the world's freshwater sources threatened? As we have been learning about this, we've learned that some people in the world do not have access to fresh water. It is not evenly distributed around the globe. Another thing we've learned is that there's a great demand for fresh water because our population increases, which then increases the demand for water. The more people, the more water we use and need. And then we also have found that a lot of water on Earth is polluted. It can be from animal feces, acid rain, and also from litter. So those were some of the reasons why the world's freshwater sources are threatened. The second guiding question is what we're going to be talking about for the next couple weeks. How do people convince others to take action to contribute to a better world? So now that we know about these water issues, what are we going to do about it? So we are going to do some more research on the action part. What can we do to convince others to take action to contribute to a better world? And we know that a better world would involve more fresh water for all people. So we're going to be doing an opinion paper. It'll be a couple paragraphs. So I want to go over our checklist again. We did this when we recommended or not recommended Peter Pan in our last module. The first characteristic of an effective opinion writing piece is that my opinion is supported by reasons and evidence from the text and shows a clear understanding of the topic. We should have a good understanding of the water issues. So that's why we want to do a little more research this week and get more information before we write our paper. The second characteristic is I state my opinion clearly and my writing stays focused. So we're going to have to form an opinion on what do you believe about this water issue. Now you're going to try to convince others to take action to try to solve the problems we have with water. The third characteristic, I have an introduction that gives the reader the information needed to understand the topic or issue. So that's why we do the research. So we have schema in order to tell our audience what's going on in the world with water. And I list reasons for my opinion. You have to support your opinion or nobody's going to be convinced. And I give evidence and reasons to support my opinion, which is what I just said. So there's obviously more to our checklist we'll look at later when we get to the actual writing piece, but I wanted you to know where we were headed. Here's an example of a model opinion essay, which is for access to water. So it's an example of an essay that is describing the issue of access to water and what you can do to help.
So the estimate for the repair...
This is titled Clean, Safe Water for Everyone. Did you know that on average, each person in North America uses 550 liters of water every day? But in other parts of the world, people use only 140, 70, or even as little as 10 liters of water a day. Millions of people do not have access to enough fresh water. We must act now to make sure that everyone has the water they need. Access to water affects people around the world, and luckily, this is one problem we can solve. So you can tell in this introductory paragraph that they're telling us about the problem for access to water. We should have schema about all three water issues by now from the work we've been doing. It's going to continue to go on and give more examples, and then it will help us understand what we can do about it. And that's the second part of our research. What can we do about it? What action can we take? So let's keep reading. Access to water affects people worldwide. Water is not spread out evenly on Earth. Some parts of our planet have a lot of water, and some parts do not. This is because of things like differences in rainfall. So people living in these parts of the world do not have access to enough water. Farmers do not have enough water to grow their crops, so food has become scarce. Many people can get water in their homes from a tap, but 1 billion people have to walk at least 15 minutes to get their fresh water for the day. Then they have to walk home carrying heavy jugs of water for themselves and their families. They do this each day just to have enough water for drinking, cooking, and cleaning. Unfortunately, some families don't even have enough water for those simple needs. For others, the water they are able to collect is dirty and will make themselves and their families sick. This problem must be solved because water is the most basic need for all people on earth. So then in this paragraph we've got more information, lots of examples and facts and details to support that this is an issue. Now here's what we're going to be looking at next, the action. Luckily, this is a problem we can do something about. You can be part of the solution. For example, you can help organizations that work to make water more accessible. Organizations like Ryan's Well Foundation raise money to build wells in parts of the world where people don't have enough water. You can help organizations like this one by raising money. Or you can volunteer to help teach others their message. The more people know about this problem, the more they can help to conserve and protect water so that everyone has enough. Raising money and making people aware of the problem can make a big difference. The best news is that if we try, we can help more people get the water they need. Won't you join us in working to make sure that everyone has access to clean and safe water? So that's an example. We have the intro, we have the middle paragraph here, second paragraph that really gives the examples and details to support what is that problem. And then we have a paragraph telling us about ways you can solve it, and then of course our conclusion. Now, due to the remote learning, we will be doing a shorter version of this model essay, but I wanted to share it with you anyways, just to get you thinking about what we need to be telling people. Like, we need to let them know how serious this problem is, whether it's access to water, demand for water, or pollution in water. This essay is on page 73 in your workbook, so you can always refer back to it. I just wanted to let you know that. So what are we going to do today? Our work today is to kind of catch up. We want to make sure that your 3 note catchers that we've been working on for research are complete, because starting tomorrow, we will be filling in the action section of each one. All right, so the first one I wanted to go over with you is access to water. This will be uploaded on this assignment, so you can copy what you need to. So on this page, and I believe this one is on page 22 of your workbook, page 22, you want to make sure that you have the research question, why must we act now to protect our water supply? You want to have the issue, water isn't distributed across the world equally. So some people and places have a lot, but others have very little. Some of the fresh water people have access to isn't clean. That's the issue with access to water. The impact is how it affects people. It affects us by requiring almost 16% of people on Earth to walk more than 15 minutes to get to the nearest water supply. The time it takes them to get water means they do not have time to do anything else during the day, including go to school. If the water is not clean, it spreads disease and makes people sick. So that's the impact it has. Now the action we're going to start filling out tomorrow when we do our research. But this should have already been done. The call to action, which is why is it important to solve the problem? It is important to solve the problem because some people have to spend a lot of time collecting water and others don't have enough. People are always getting sick from dirty water. And then we have our sources on here as well. Those were from pages 20 through 21 of One Well, The Story of Water on Earth by Rochelle Strauss. And then Access to Fresh Water by Plan UK. So this should have already been done earlier in this module, but if you didn't get it done, today is your catch-up day. Make sure you have these notes down. You're also going to look at the demands on water. So this one is on page 27. Again, your research question is what we're trying to figure out. Why must we act now to protect our water supply? The issue is the population is growing. So we need more water, and people are using more water today than they ever have before. Also, as more people move into an area, it puts stress on the local water resources. What's the impact of this? How does it affect people? It affects people by towns and cities grow to accommodate all these people, which uses a lot of land. More people means more facilities have to be built. We're going to work on the action later in the week when we do our research. That's why we're getting these filled in. Call to action. Why is it important to solve the problem? It is because by 2025, many experts predict that 1 out of every 4 people will live in a country that is short of water. By 2050, 4 billion people may be living without enough clean water. Okay? So this will also be uploaded for you to use as a reference when filling out your note catchers. The last note catcher that should have been filled out is the one on water pollution. And this is on page 34 in your EL workbook. Why must we act now to protect our water supply? Well, the issue is water is being polluted. How does it impact people? Making less clean, fresh water available and by causing sickness. Nearly 80% of all sicknesses in the world are caused by unsafe water. And the action is what we'll be filling out as we go on with our research. One thing we did come up with already, though, was to reduce the amount of pollution that gets into the water. But we need to figure out how we're going to do that. We're going to be filling that in. And then call to action. Why is it important to solve this problem? If we don't, otherwise we will end up with no clean water. It will all be polluted and everyone will get sick from it. And that's a scary thought. So today, again, your task is to make sure your note catchers for the issues on access, demand, and pollution are completed, that they're filled out, everything except for the action part. On most of those, we didn't get anything yet, so they should remain blank, because that's what we're going to start on Wednesday. Okay, so those are pages 22 for access, 27 for demand, and 34 for pollution. Again, please look at the images that are uploaded on this lesson to help you with that.